Right, hi guys, back again. Now I'm pretty sure in the last video we established without doubt that I'm a bit of an idiot, but I must have got smart overnight. My original intention was to use this piece of aluminium somehow mounted on the front to secure the flywheels on, which I realised is absolutely ridiculous. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to pull this apart again and find spaces in these plastic areas where if I can put a screw through there and a screw through there, and then wire those two screws up on the inside where they won't get in the way of the mechanism, but it doesn't look like they will. I've got an anchor point which I can then tie some wire through, put it through that hole, same thing on this side, do the same thing up here, and probably do something similar with that on top like that. This will actually be easy because if I can put like even a rubber band or a hair tie from there down to an anchor point somewhere here and the same on the other side, it should be nice and secure. Geez, I've just noticed all those screws sticking out. I'm going to have to trim them off too. So I'll get on with that. So make that secure, then we'll do another test fire, and when that's done we can get on to the fun bit. Okay guys, now got bits of wire all over the place. Just wired this bit up here and used it across the top for that. Bit down the bottom just with a couple of screws, and just a bit straight over the back end in that little notch on the back of the driver. Okie dokie, here we go. That goes there, that goes there, and okay, here we go. Well, I think that's a pretty conclusive test. I can go back to calling myself not an idiot. Okay guys, welcome back. Now, yesterday got that sorted. Really happy about that. Now, as you probably remember, my original plan was to use a bit of this aluminium to secure the flywheels to the front, but the wire and the screws works fine. And I've just discovered the aluminium, this channel, actually fits inside of there. So what I've got is basically a framework that sits inside the gun, and if I do it right I can have a couple of screws at the rear end where the butt is, take those out, slide the whole lot out. That would be brilliant. Right guys, so got our two pieces of shell reamed out, cleared of all the plastic from there up to there. Got our piece of aluminium. Now that's up, that's down, and that notch there has to go over that screw hole there, that screw post. So that goes in there like that, nice tight fit. It goes on like that. There we go, click click. Now tomorrow's project is to get this metal reamed out and get that mounted. That's all I'm going to do tomorrow. And once I've got the receiver grip in, the pistol grip in, and the foregrip where I roughly want it, I'll look at some stuff for the top sight. So, from yesterday, got my metal U-channel in there. So today's job is actually to cut out the void for the receiver grip, I should say, to fit in there. So, I've marked two brown texture marks, just, you know, space. I'm pretty sure I've got a hacksaw blade to fit my scroll saw, so I'll go and try and cut this out by hacksaw blade. If not, I'll just drill some big holes in the corner and then grind parts out. So, back soon. Okay, so there's my hole. I'm wondering how much of this will fit through. Aha, not a lot. Right guys, welcome back. Now, got through this the other day and stopped there because I was a little bit confused about how to proceed. Okay, issues I have to deal with. I want this, just make sure you can see this, these shoulders here to sit on here, which I think I'm going to be pretty good with. The problem is this part of it on either side is too wide. As you can see, it just doesn't, it won't just easily slip over there like that. It hits it straight away. So what I'm going to have to do, then use this to measure a line across there and take off that part, just the top part of that. I've still got supports inside that'll remain there, and I may have to put some strengthening in, but that will allow me, once I've cut this out, this bit out, to slide the whole thing on. And it'll slide on right up to where it has to go, and it also needs a small area in this area cut out for the bottom of this. That's roughly ground out. Got to do this in stages, bit by bit. Now I've got a ledge on that side, but this flexes enough that I can get this past it up until about here where it gets tight. So what I've done is measure this width of that 25, measure from there down 25, made my mark. So I'm just going to cut out this part of the plastic gradually, a little bit at a time, and probably take it down to about there. That side and that side. Yeah, so that'll just slide on, and then once it's in position, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to take a notch out of here somewhere. No more than half the distance of that, hopefully only a third. So it can drop down, so it just hangs down below the gun at the right height. So, get on with that, and we'll get back to you. Okay. Right. See, I've dug a hole there, and I did that deliberately just to see how much plastic I had to play with. And it looks like we've got about close to 3mm thickness. So, right guys, I hope you can see this somewhat. Okay, there's my really neatly ground out channel. Yeah, not. Anyway, so a few little features, like the little notch there is for the motor that sticks out, and you can see how much I've had to cut off that to make it fit. So that goes in there like that. Then it drops down a little bit, sits like that. So there we have it, sitting in that notch. So that's dropped it down just a little bit. Now so that fits in there like that. Now, as you can see, while it's nice and square down the bottom here, it actually slopes in slightly, and it's just enough to cause me a few headaches. So this is definitely not going to close. Too much stuff up here. So there's a lot of supports in there I've been grinding and cutting out. I've got to do a lot more, as you can see. I've really got to watch that, but I've got to take everything down to the level of that channel in this area, and there's quite a bit of it. So even with all that grinding out, the magazine still works. So that's going to be like that, and that's going to be somewhere, what is it? About something like that. And of course we have the foregrip. So we might have a bit of luck here. If I can get that like that, get that up there. That might work, something like that. Okay. I've modified this, for whatever the better term, we'll call it the chassis. I actually managed to find a piece of aluminium that's made to fit in that gap, so I've just riveted it in temporarily. So, and I've cut a section out so this can drop a bit further. As you can see, I had to grind an awful lot out of the plastic to get this part through, but it's not going to be seen anyway. So I'm at that stage there. That sits in nice like that. The only thing I've got to deal with is this front flywheel being slightly on an angle. I'll have to reseat it or something. Not a great issue. It's also pointing up too. So I'm going to have to do something about that. Might do away with the wires and just putty that in. Okay, so that's where I am. I've ground out a lot of the plastic inside this. As you can see, it's pretty much all flat up to there. All that's gone. Didn't really need to do it because it fits in fine, but it's done now. Now, that slots in there, like so. Now, my next step is putting my pistol grip in. Now, I've done some measurements. Distant from inside that, the top of that metal channel, to the outside, the bottom of this red plastic, is 29.5mm, so 30mm. And as luck would have it, the distance from the top of this receiver, let's get it right, is just on 30mm. So I've got to cut that much off to make it fit in there. So this part is flush with the bottom of that. So if I put that about where that is, yeah, that looks like it's actually going to work. So what I'm going to do, that top line is the 30mm mark, so I could cut straight along there. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cut about halfway between there, just give myself some wiggle room, just in case I screw things up like I normally do. And then part of this is going to be cut away too, because the front foregrip goes on. And this might actually work well with that little notch. Cut it up there. Might just fit together like that perfectly. Let's hope. So, I'm going to get the Dremel out, cut off that, cut off some of this, and then move on. Right, back when I've done that. Right guys, so here we go. Nice cuts, got rid of the bits. Now, really good nice straight line there. I'm not a genius with the Dremel, I simply held an old straight edge against the plastic while I was cutting and just ran the Dremel along the edge of it. That's why it's all scratched. But it gives you a nice straight cut. Now, I can get a nice accurate measurement, and it is about 5.5mm. So I've got to take about 5.5mm off the top of this, and that is literally along the top of that line, like I thought it was. So I will do that. Reference. Get it straight along there. Only two hands. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Oh, that's close. Right guys, got my little pistol grip cut. So my tiny little baby ruler says these things are 22mm wide. That's 11mm that gap, so half of that is 5.5. Just on 6, that raised part, so 5.5 plus 6 is 11.5, plus 10 is 21.5. So that gives me 0.5mm to play with. Now of course, you know, if you push really hard you're going to slip and move the ruler and probably do yourself some damage. So you just go over several light times. One little trick I do, it works much better on lighter coloured plastics, like yellow is great. Once you've scored a line, just rub your finger over it, and dirt and muck off your finger will get in a line and mark it. Be a nice precise cut line for you. Alright, so as I was saying, this front bit sits just below the surface, just above that securing pin, so it's not in the way. So if I look at that there, the top of that is not touching the metal just yet. Got a little bit more to come off. So I'm going to spend some time fitting this, and I'll turn the camera back on when it's done.